On June 1, 1896, Sylvester H. Roper rode one of his velocipede bicycles with a steam engine added to the Charles River bicycle track in Cambridge, Massachusetts. He was seen to be unstable and then fell on the track, suffering a head wound, and was found dead. After autopsy, the cause of death was found to be heart failure, although it is unknown if the crash was the cause of the stress on his heart or if his heart failed prior to the crash. No one knows for sure till this day. These are the tragic tales of inventors who met their end through their own creations. Each of them sought to change the world, but their groundbreaking ideas came at a grave cost. Horace Lawson Hunley had a vision to create a submarine that could shift the tides of war during the Civil War. He successfully constructed the first combat submarine, the H.L. Hunley, but tragedy struck during a test run. While Hunley himself was aboard, the submarine mysteriously failed to surface. The entire crew, including Hunley, perished, entombed in the very vessel they believed would revolutionize naval warfare. It wasn't just the failure of a machine, but the drowning of ambition, as Hunley's desire to prove his invention's worth led him to a watery grave. It wasn't until years later that his legacy was resurrected, when the Hunley was finally raised from the ocean floor. Marie Curie's groundbreaking work in radioactivity won her 2 Nobel Prizes, yet her relentless pursuit of scientific progress came with a terrible cost. Curie spent her life handling dangerous radioactive materials, unaware of the lethal impact they had on her body. Slowly but surely, the very elements she studied began to poison her. She suffered from severe illness and eventually succumbed to aplastic anemia in 1934, her body ravaged by radiation. Today, her notebooks are still so radioactive that they are kept in lead-lined boxes, a haunting relic of her fatal discoveries. Thomas Midgley Jr., a brilliant chemist, was responsible for inventions that shaped modern industry, but they also led to his tragic downfall. Midgley introduced leaded gasoline and chlorofluorocarbons, which were hailed as marvels of modern chemistry. But these substances caused catastrophic damage to both human health and the environment. Later in life, Midgley contracted polio and, in a bid to regain his independence, devised an elaborate system of pulleys and ropes to help him get out of bed. One morning in November 1944, Midgley became entangled in the ropes of his own device. Unable to free himself, he was strangled by the apparatus he had so meticulously designed. The incident not only ended his life, but underscored the tragic irony of his situation. A man who had contributed to significant technological progress ultimately met his end through his own creation. In June 1785, Jean-François Pilatre de Rosier, the first person to fly in a hot air balloon, attempted to cross the English Channel. The scene was set for an incredible achievement. He, alongside his companion Pierre Romain, soared into the sky in a Rosier balloon, a daring blend of hot air and hydrogen. However, their dream of crossing the channel turned to horror as the balloon began to descend uncontrollably. Despite their desperate attempts to regain control, the balloon crashed into the sea, claiming the lives of both pilots. Their tragic end marked a grim milestone in aviation history, highlighting the perilous nature of early flight and the high stakes of pushing boundaries. Otto Lilienthal, often hailed as the father of modern aviation, was a pioneer in human flight. His meticulously designed gliders had achieved numerous successful flights, earning him admiration and respect. But in August 1896, during a test flight, Lilienthal's glider encountered turbulence. Despite his extensive experience, he was unable to regain control. The glider spiraled uncontrollably, and Lilienthal was thrown to the ground. He suffered severe injuries and died the following day. His tragic accident underscored the risks faced by those who dare to conquer the skies and cemented his legacy as a martyr of aviation progress. Franz Reichelt, a tailor-turned-inventor, was determined to prove the efficacy of his parachute coat. In 1912, from the first deck of the Eiffel Tower, Reichelt prepared to demonstrate his invention. Despite pleas from authorities and witnesses to use a dummy for the test, Reichelt insisted on testing the code himself. Strapped into his parachute coat, he leaped from the tower, hoping to glide safely to the ground. Tragically, the parachute failed to deploy, and Reichelt plummeted to his death. His dramatic and ill-fated leap became a cautionary tale about the dangers of untested inventions and the perils of overconfidence. Karl Suchek, a celebrated stuntman known for his death-defying acts, devised a shock-absorbent barrel to survive high falls. In 1985, he staged a dramatic demonstration, dropping himself from the roof of the Houston Astrodome into a specially designed water tank below. The world watched as Suchek made his descent, but as he neared the tank, disaster struck. His barrel hit the rim of the tank, and the impact was fatal. Suchek's tragic death highlighted the extreme risks stunt performers face and the fine line between daring feats and fatal accidents. His ambition to push the boundaries of human endurance ended in a heartbreaking final act. In 1921, Valerian Abakovsky, a Soviet engineer, was at the forefront of innovative transportation with his Aerowagon, a propeller-driven railcar. Designed to revolutionize travel by combining the speed of aircraft with the practicality of trains, the Aerowagon was an ambitious project. On July 24, 1921, Abakovsky and a group of Soviet officials boarded the Aerowagon for a test run. As the vehicle sped along the tracks, a catastrophic derailment occurred. The high-speed crash resulted in the deaths of Abakovsky and 6 others on board. This tragic accident not only claimed the lives of its passengers, but also marked the end of an ambitious vision for high-speed rail transport. Max Valier, a trailblazing rocket scientist in the 1920s, was instrumental in the development of liquid-fueled rocket engines. His pioneering work with the German Rocket Society, Verein für Raumschifffahrt, set the stage for future space exploration. However, on May 17, 1930, while testing an alcohol-fueled rocket engine, a devastating explosion occurred. Valier, who was working on improving rocket technology, was killed instantly in the blast. His untimely death was a stark reminder of the inherent dangers in the quest for technological advancement and the high price of innovation. Henry Smolinski, a visionary in the field of personal aviation, designed the AVE Mazar, a flying car that combined a Ford Pinto with a light aircraft. Smolinski's dream was to make flying cars a reality, blending automotive and aviation technology. On September 11, 1973, during a test flight, a tragic mechanical failure led to a catastrophic crash. Smolinski and his test pilot were killed instantly. The crash not only ended Smolinski's life, but also dashed hopes for a future where flying cars might become commonplace. His death underscored the complex challenges of integrating car and aircraft technologies. Julius H. Kroll, an American inventor, was known for his work on the Submarine Explorer, an early experimental submarine. In the mid-19th century, Kroll's submarine design was revolutionary, aiming to demonstrate the potential of underwater navigation. During a series of experimental dives, Kroll and his team faced difficulties with decompression sickness. Kroll's condition worsened, and he succumbed to the illness. His death highlighted the severe risks associated with pioneering underwater exploration and the challenges of early submarine design. Alexander Bogdanov, a pioneering Russian hematologist, embarked on a groundbreaking yet perilous experiment in 1926. As a revolutionary figure in the study of blood transfusions, Bogdanov believed that young blood could rejuvenate his aging body. He conducted a series of mutual blood transfusions with a young student who had an inactive case of tuberculosis, hoping to transfer the student's vitality into himself. Tragically, Bogdanov's hypothesis proved fatal. He suffered an acute hemolytic transfusion reaction and died as a result of the experiment gone awry. His death was a poignant reminder of the risks involved in pioneering medical research and the sometimes fatal consequences of experimental science. Henry Winstanley, a visionary engineer, constructed the world's first offshore lighthouse, on the perilous Eddystone Rocks off the coast of England between 1696 and 1698. Proud of his achievement, Winstanley boasted about the lighthouse's durability and even expressed his desire to take shelter inside during a great storm. Tragically, during the Great Storm of 1703, the lighthouse was completely destroyed, with Winstanley and 5 others inside. The fierce storm wiped out any trace of them, and their deaths underscored the perilous nature of pioneering engineering feats and the unpredictable power of nature. Michael de Cura was a visionary inventor whose ambition was to revolutionize transportation with a flying taxi. His creation was an innovative device designed to transport passengers through the air, aiming to solve urban congestion issues. Unfortunately, during a test flight in 2009, Dacre's flying taxi crashed. The accident occurred when a control malfunction led to a fatal crash. Dacre's death underscored the immense challenges and inherent dangers faced by pioneers in the field of aviation and transport technology. William Bullock was an American inventor known for revolutionizing the printing industry with his web rotary printing press. This invention significantly enhanced the speed and efficiency of printing newspapers and books. However, in 1867, during the installation of a new machine in Philadelphia, Bullock's foot was crushed. The injury led to gangrene, and despite efforts to save him, he died from complications during an amputation. Bullock's death was a tragic reminder of the physical dangers inherent in the industrial innovations of his time. Thomas Andrews was a naval architect who designed the RMS Titanic, one of the largest and most luxurious ships of its time. On April 14, 1912, the Titanic struck an iceberg and sank during its maiden voyage. Andrews was on board and played a key role in the evacuation efforts. Despite his efforts, he perished in the disaster along with approximately 1,500 others. Andrews' death highlighted the catastrophic flaws in ship design and safety protocols, forever marking him as a poignant figure in maritime history. Aurel Vlaicu was a Romanian aviation pioneer who constructed the Vlaicu II, an early airplane intended to cross the Carpathian Mountains. Vlaicu was a visionary in aviation, dedicated to advancing flight technology. In 1913, while attempting to demonstrate his aircraft's capabilities, Vlaicu encountered a critical failure, leading to a crash. He died in the accident, and his death was a somber reminder of the inherent dangers in early aviation trials and the sacrifices made by pioneers of flight. Ismail ibn Hamad al-Jauhari was a 10th century scholar from Farab, known for his ambitious attempt to achieve human flight. Using wooden wings and a rope, he attempted to fly from the roof of a mosque in Nishapur. Unfortunately, the experiment ended in disaster when al-Jauhari fell to his death. His tragic attempt represents one of the earliest recorded efforts at human flight, highlighting both the bravery and the peril inherent in pioneering scientific endeavors. Mike Hughes, an American daredevil and inventor, was known for his homemade steam-powered rocket. Hughes aimed to reach the edge of space in his rocket, but faced significant challenges. During a test flight in 2020, his rocket crashed when the parachute failed to deploy, leading to his death. Hughes's ambitious efforts to push the boundaries of personal rocketry ended in tragedy, highlighting the extreme risks associated with high-stakes experimentation. Stockton Rush, an ambitious entrepreneur and engineer, spearheaded the development of the OceanGate Titan, a submersible designed for deep-sea exploration. Rush was a staunch advocate for pushing the boundaries of technology, often at the expense of safety regulations. On June 18, 2023, the Titan imploded during a dive to the Titanic wreck, resulting in the deaths of Rush and 4 others. His fatal flaw was the overconfidence in his unregulated design, which led to one of the most tragic events in modern underwater exploration. William Pitt, a Canadian ferryman, designed an innovative underwater cable ferry to improve the crossing between the Kingston Peninsula and the Kennebecasis Valley. His invention aimed to enhance the ferry's efficiency and safety. Tragically, in 1909, while making adjustments to his ferry, Pitt fell into the machinery and sustained fatal injuries. His death was a somber end to his efforts to modernize ferry transportation. Cowper Phipps Coles, a Royal Navy captain and ship designer, crafted the HMS Captain, a masted turret ship. Despite its advanced design, the Captain faced instability issues. In 1870, during its maiden voyage, the ship capsized and sank, leading to the deaths of approximately 480 people, including Coles himself. The tragedy revealed the dire consequences of design flaws in naval engineering. These inventors, driven by their visions, paid the ultimate price for their contributions to human progress. Their stories remind us of the risks inherent in pushing the boundaries of innovation. Thank you for watching. If you found these stories as gripping as we did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more forgotten tales of human ingenuity.